Here's something I found was really interesting, and this goes along with the fact that, you know, these businesses in this 11,000 local business study, 4% of their traffic came from social. And here's some pretty interesting news from a different study that Google Maps is the dominant local search tool, which we knew that, followed by Facebook and Yelp. Now Yelp, I get it's not surprising to me whatsoever. Facebook, admittedly, was a pretty big surprise, and Facebook performed better than Yelp. Mind you, I mean, they were 38% as opposed to Yelp's 35%. It's close, but a win nonetheless. Mm-hmm. So that is pretty interesting. Years ago, I did a video. I mean, literally, oh my God, this had to be 5-6 years ago. I did a video on Facebook Local, and you know, that was interesting. It's not something I used or abused as much as I would have liked to when I did the video and kind of talked about it and showed it to people. But I mean, fast forward, I kind of get it. I mean, even here in this town, there's these businesses that pop up, and they run 100% off their Facebook page, which is, to me, as a marketer, a somewhat sophisticated digital marketer, I might add.
You would add that.
I would. I did.
You did.
It was. It's a bit of a pain in the ass in a lot of cases, but I mean, the full thing where like their menu is literally photographs of their menu uploaded, and like it's not even done well or optimized well, but they do really well with it. I mean, they're very popular local businesses, and they get talked about a lot in local Facebook groups. So we have a couple really big local Facebook groups in the area, and there doesn't, I don't know if a day goes by where someone doesn't talk about one of the restaurants that they eat at here. That's just so good, and they post pictures of their food, and like it's a very like personal, social, community-based thing. And
even for a lot of recommendations, you know, we're a painter or a house cleaner, you're always looking, people are always asking for recommendations, mechanics,
all the time.
All the local businesses, you know, people are asking.
It's probably most of what the local groups I'm in consist of, is people asking for business recommendations or professional recommendations. Like, hey, I need a painter, a plumber, right?
I see a lot of fairly active pages, local pages too. Like, I was just thinking about the fact, like, Dairy Dan, I follow his Facebook page. That's where I know where he's at and when he's Dairy Dan, the ice cream guy.
From around here?
From around here, yeah. I'm a local now, Mark.
You are a freaking local.
I've donated to the fire station and everything. But they're your definition of a very local business, you know what I mean? They're an ice cream truck, and they have an extremely active Facebook page. They have like a huge fan following asking like why they're not showing up today, where they at.
Yeah.
So I mean, yeah, it just popped into my head talking about local business on Facebook.
That's wild, right?
Yeah.
That's yeah. It's really interesting. And then of course when you type in, you know, Facebook always pops up and is like ask for a recommendation. So yeah, it's interesting. It also is a really good opportunity, again, not to just post junk, right? But I'll tell you, I know a guy. He has three locations now in the area. But I was friends with his younger brother. We went to school together, and he opened a barbecue joint, and now he has 3 locations. And he started, I remember, he had a bunch of Facebook friends from school, right? Or friends of friends, you know, however the Facebook world works. Your first and second degree friends, as weird as that can get. And he was posting, like he worked at a restaurant here in town, and he would post pictures, like when they weren't super busy, he would make crazy ass food in the kitchen. And he'd post pictures on Facebook and like who would try it. And he actually developed a following, like a local following. Like, I'm not talking like 5 and 10 people liking the shit. I mean, like, I've seen seen some of his old posts where he was just an employee at this place, a cook, a chef. He was a cook, and he wasn't even a chef. And I mean, he would get like hundreds of comments and likes, and people went crazy over that. And one day he was like, "Hey, if I started catering, who would mess with me?" And that's literally, he built his business off of like sharing, engaging Facebook pictures and posts. And now, like I said, they have 3 spots, and like he does, I imagine they have to do pretty well. They were definitely the favorite barbecue place for years around here. People ranted and raved. When you said a bad thing about him, you were like impaled on the stake. You know what I mean? Yeah. You know, having said that, it's not just, you know, grabbing some bullshit content, throwing it up, but if you're really, you know, trying to engage with the community and you know, get them involved, and, you know, with food, it's always easy. You build a giant burger or a crazy, you know, item.
20-pound pizza.
Yeah, like people love that. Like that's just a thing. But yeah, I mean, and it's not hard to do that. A lot of times, especially now, you'll have people working into business. I mean, there's a lot of Gen Zers and, you know, younger millennials and stuff that
they Snapchat while they're at work.
They want to do that.
Yeah,
like
exactly.
They want to be active on social anyway. So, you know, leveraging your staff to engage with the community, as long as you have rules, you know, or how you want your brand represented. But leveraging your staff to engage is a really simple way to, you know, build that community feeling. It's just interesting that happening over the years has made Facebook the second largest local.
Still shocking.
Yeah, place for local recommendations.
Something you had mentioned too previously was just about the number of. Well, actually, it's probably the next thing you're going to get into, so I'll wait until you get to that. Are we gonna talk about the desktop local search versus mobile?
We can.
You want to move into that? If you guys don't have anything else to.
Well, I just want to run down through here quick.
Oh, okay.
So Google Maps was at 77%, Facebook at 38%, Yelp at 35%, the business website 32%, Google Assistant 19%, Instagram, Apple Maps, Waze, and it just gets bad from there. But interesting. So those are the ones, that's what's pushing traffic. That's what people are using, the platforms people are using to find local businesses. So be active on them.
The hardest part, I think, with Facebook is people adapting a local business to a social setting. Like if you're a roofer, you know, you could post like previous work and stuff, but how do you make that consistent, engaging?
Dude, it's all about creativity.
Yeah.
True story. Roofer. I was on YouTube the other evening. I was getting ready to fall asleep and watching some videos. And for some, who knows what reason, this roofing video popped up. And it was this guy who runs a local roofing company. And he calls himself like the fastest roofer. And like I watched him, I was like, no. I was like, I don't know, man. Like he's definitely really good. And I'm not a good roofer, so I can't really talk shit. And I'm like, man, I don't know, man. I've seen some guys on some job sites that can run a roof pretty quickly. Like I don't know if he's the fastest, but like he creates these videos of like them roofing, and they're like joking around on the job site. He's like playfully messing with the young, you know, new guys and shit. Mm-hmm. Dude, his videos get like monster views, and like he just became a guy that people watch. It's just freaking weird, man. So yeah, it is. It's what you. It just takes creativity and the effort. Just throw the camera on. Like we live in a world where people pay to watch people play video games. And like that started, like Twitch started from people being interested just watching a guy wear a camera and walk around. And like people want to see what people do. So just shooting your job sites, your crew having fun, the crew doing cool stuff for the community, just stuff like that. I mean, you can really rock it. And I also know a lawyer that does an immense amount of, lawyer. One of the most boring things that does an
I've seen
immense
some pretty
amount.
funny lawyer videos.
You remember the Law Hawk? Law Hawk! And it's the, well, I mean, he's a complete nut. I mean, I think he had like a Super Bowl commercial, and I don't know, it's just, Law Hawk! Like, that was just so great. But I mean, it's all about, you know, creativity. Just get that camera going and start making content. I don't know. But I just said roofer and it caught my, I'm like, hey, that made me think of this guy who, yeah, and I watched more of that than I ever wanted to.
Mm-hmm.
I watched them do like 4 or 5 roofs. I was like, shoot, I have no interest in this. Like, I don't know. The guy's not local to hear anything.
Yeah, well, I mean, entertaining content is entertaining. I mean, that's really what it comes down to, entertaining content that engages the audience.
Yeah.
And that's why that social stuff is powerful. So,